Hey everybody, welcome back to Abstracted.
Hello. Nah, I know the whole thing with that because I've talked to a lot of people, not on the stories, but just you talk to someone every once in a while. They watch a scary movie or a demon movie or some shit like
Mm-hmm.
that. It's like so many people believe kind of different things,
Right.
and it's like how far their
Well, it's
belief
like
goes into it. Like people that believe in
right.
luck but not karma, and people that believe in karma but not
I'll
luck.
go. I'll go off on that in a second. But it's like you're saying, like it depends on a person and their how far they think because it's like I was talking about in the last one. I legitimately I don't. It's not that I don't like watching scary movies. I actually do like watching scary movies, but I hate it seems like all scary movies are the exact same thing. Unless it's like about a serial killer on one and
Oh
then
yeah,
it's about like the exorcist on the other one. Those are different because they're just different worlds. But if they're the
yeah,
same, like if it's a paranormal, oh, it's
yeah,
about a ghost haunting, and then you got something like paranormal activity. Well, those two things are more or less the same movie, just in different ways. I don't really tend to
yeah.
watch them, but like I watched that Paranormal Activity, that first one. I mean, I watched it a long time after it had been out. I'd never seen it, and people had talked about it off and on throughout the years, and I finally decided to watch it because I was bored one day, and I got like three-quarters of the way through the movie. Or well, I'd
Yeah.
have to go back and actually like look and see. I think it's three-quarters of the way through the movie or whatever. But I got to that part where the fucking like he goes to check and
Yeah.
see what the noises are, and the fucking chandelier swinging, and it makes that loud, like there's that loud roar, and I shit you not, like I mean, it could be just my brain, and it probably
Yeah.
is just my brain remembering things weird or whatever. But it, to me, as an adult, it sounded exactly
Yeah.
like the roar I used to hear in my night terror. And so as soon as I heard that, dude, like I heard that shit, and I was like, I instantly was
Oh
like,
yeah.
I cannot watch this shit. And I turned that movie off, and I've never played it. I've never attempted to finish it,
Yeah.
and I won't watch any of the other ones simply because of the I mean,
Oh, they
I
all went
know it's a
downhill after
movie
that, so
and I
don't worry
know it's
about
a
it.
sound, and obviously
Mhm.
something was used to make that sound. It hit way too hard for
Oh yeah, way too close to home.
yeah, it just hit way too close to home for me, and it bothered the living crap out of me, so I just never finished it. But I mean, kind of like you're saying, they thought that it was a face, and I thought that that roar was the same one, and I was just like, nope. Mm-mm.
No, I remember watching the movie. It didn't really scare me too much. It was mostly, well, most of it was just them talking. What made me laugh was when the girl got dragged off the bed. I don't know if you got that far. That shit was funny because it was so abrupt
Mm-hmm.
that it was just funny and not really scary. Her leg gets grabbed and she gets pulled off the bed.
Yeah.
She lands on the floor and she's kind of looking around, and then she gets dragged down the hallway and the door shuts behind her. It looks legit, like it was done, and the budget for that movie was low as shit. It made a lot of money. Because I just recently, a couple days ago, watched, Meat Crayon? Not Meat Crayon, that's
Meat
something
Canyon.
else. Meat Canyon, yeah. I was watching him because he's got that his main channel, Papa Meat.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching his shit, and he did a video where he watches he watched all of the paranormal movies,
Yeah.
and he went. I listened to him go through all those and kind of remember some stuff because I only saw like the first two or three, but he just
Mm-hmm.
talked about how much money they made for such a low budget, and then they
Mm-hmm.
just milked it.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, I thought the movie was kind of eerie, but at the same time that made me laugh because just how abrupt and ridiculous it was for a second.
Right. I just think.
But it's
Hmm?
I've seen a lot of my partner. She likes to watch. My girlfriend, she likes to watch a lot of what is it like true crime shit.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of true crime, and that's funny. Is like you can sit there and like you watch like I watched the latest Evil Dead movie, which was great. And it's just a lot of movies like that is very fake and stuff like that. And some
Mm-hmm.
of them can be pretty scary. Like Martyr, where Martyr's more of a psychological, or uh, like the old 13th Ghost is the 13th Ghost was a scary movie. But then you sit there and you watch real life documentaries, eating a bag of popcorn and shit, and that's real life happening, and that doesn't affect you as much as actual scary movies.
Right.
I always thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah. Like how it's. I think it's hilarious how like what you're saying. I think it's funny that people can you can have something like a scary movie or whatever, like you're talking about, and
Yeah.
like, like me, I turned that one off because I got scared or whatever. But
Yeah.
then you have um maybe another scary movie that's a documentary about something real, or maybe just a regular documentary about something different that's kind of like what, like let's say a serial killer or something else, and people are fascinated by that shit. Like, I mean, yeah, it's fascinating how minds of people can work or whatever, and that's
Yeah.
something that at some point would probably delve into, but um it's fascinating to me how you can take something that's scary and it's like it's fake, like you're saying, and like it's completely untrue, and
Yeah.
you're frightened by it or you're disgusted by it or whatever. But then you have something that's like a real true event that should be disgusting or frightening, and people are just like numb to it
Yeah.
nowadays. And the other thing that is funny to me about stuff like that is how in the past, like when the Blair Witch came out, the very first Blair
Yeah.
Witch,
Yeah.
the way that
That
it
was scary.
was
That scared the shit out of me.
see, the way that it was filmed, um, is just kind of like, I mean, it's not exactly like Paranormal Activity, but it's close enough to like the same kind of,
Yeah.
home video
It's
style.
recorded camera thing. Yeah.
Right. And dude, I remember for like what? Dude, I was in my 20s before people finally like started getting around to like, I mean, everybody would be like, "Oh, it's fake. Oh, it's fake. It's fake." And
Yeah.
it was fake, but it wasn't until like I was in my 20s that people were like actually finally fully believed it was fake. And
Yeah.
now you can have it's funny how society's changed so hard that they can believe that that was real. But
Yeah.
now you have straight up like live video footage of people doing stupid shit or doing shit they shouldn't be doing,
Yeah.
and or things that are like really, like going and beating up old people on the side of the road, and people are just like, "Oh, that's fake," or "Oh,
Yeah.
that's okay." Like, no, no, it's not okay, and it's not fake. Like, how can I just don't understand how society, when I was a kid, society was like, "Oh my god, the Blair Witch is real," and to now it's like, "Oh my god, this Facebook live video is fake." Like, I just feel like sometimes people can be just so ignorant, I guess is the way to put it.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
But yeah,
It's
hmm,
a lot of people become more desensitized or more suspective of things where they won't believe it, even though if it makes sense or is really right in front of them.
hmm,
But I mean, everyone has their own opinions and shit like that. But at the same time, things that are just black and white, like, come on now.
right.
But I do remember Blair Witch, and a lot of people thought it was real, which was great. And that movie made a lot. It had a kind of a cult following. Um,
Oh, it's still
it's
got a cult
Oh, it
following.
still does, yeah. And I liked it. It was scary because to me, what freaked me out was the whole movie itself was kind of eerie,
Hmm.
but like spooky to follow along. But what got me was the very ending. And I'm not gonna say spoiler alert because if you ain't seen Blair Witch by yet, you just too fucking late. You can go watch it, right? Pause this and go watch it.
Hmm.
But the very end is that they get down into the basement. The girl is following her friend or some shit,
Right.
and they get down to the basement. The friend's in the corner, standing facing the corner because you're supposed to do that when the monster whatever kills you. And then she gets knocked over or shit. But the scene was so like scarring because like, oh fuck, he's in the corner. What's about to happen? She gets knocked over, and then screams and it ends. It's not
Mm,
that crazy of a scene, but like the movie was so believable and impactful that stayed with me for a while.
right. And you're talking about the very first Blair Witch.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I had seen enough of the first one to know about how it pertains and everything. I've never actually, I don't think I've ever actually fully watched the very first one. I watched the
Oh
remake.
yeah.
But I know enough about
Oh
the
yeah.
first one to know like what it's like, how it took place and how it was filmed and all that. Um
Yeah.
but the remake, I don't know if you've seen it, but
No.
What got me in it was that, I already knew that the first one was fake or whatever, and I knew that they recreated it or whatever. Um, but what got me is that it's the same kind of thing. It's the same kind of ending. I can't remember exactly where they were, but they go into like a broken down house or whatever, and he's in the corner, or it's in the corner, or some shit, and it turns around and it's the monster. But you spend the whole time of the movie, like, people disappearing, shit happening to people, and
Yeah.
screaming and all this other stuff, and then you don't think anything's, like, going down at first, and then all of a sudden it starts going down or whatever, and then at the end, like, I thought it would end with them never showing the monster, but that's what got me, is that they showed a monster like, the monster gets
Right at
shown,
the
and
last
then it
second.
clips to, like, the end,
Yeah.
and it's like
Yeah, which is good. Some movies, it's great until they show the monster, and then the monster is so goofy looking, it kind of kills it.
mhm.
But they did it really well on that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they did it very well, because it shows just enough to make you scared, but
Yeah,
it cuts it off in a way that it doesn't show so much that you're like, "Okay, yeah, this is not believable anymore."
yeah,
Those are the ones that I like. That's the kind of stuff that I wanna watch, is the stuff that's like, you go the whole, or even if you translate it to, like, a maybe not from a movie, but to, like, a game or something, go the
yeah,
whole game feeling like you're followed, or go the whole movie like you're watching it and you're feeling like the actor, character, whatever, is being followed, and nothing's like, it's right there, but it's just not quite grabbing them, or not quite doing this. And then at the
yeah.
very end, it does something, and it's like, when it does that shit, it's just, that's the best scare of all. It's not these little, oh, there was a zombie in the closet and it pops out or some shit. Like, oh
Oh,
my
the
god, and people
the jump
getting,
scares.
yeah, the jump scares. The jump scares are stupid. I hate the jump scares. And it's not that.
I like jump scares. For I know they're stupid, but I like them because just the fun of being scared. But yeah,
Mhm.
no, they're definitely not as good as like the actual
See,
tense moments.
I think I would like jump scares more if they actually scared me. But
Yeah,
I've seen too much, of too many of the same thing, to, like, when we're watching something, like, if I do decide to watch, because my daughters like scary movies,
yeah,
and usually their mom won't watch with them, but I will. Um
yeah,
we'll be watching something, and I'm like, okay, here in about the next, 5, 6,
mhm.
15 seconds, whatever, we're gonna
Yeah.
get some kind of jump scare, and then it
You can
happens,
see it
and then I'm
coming.
just like, and they're like, "Oh," and I'm just like sitting there like, this is boring, because
Yeah.
I'm not surprised by it. If it would surprise me, then I'd probably like it more.
Yeah,
Uh,
most times I can see it coming. Every once in a while, there is a movie that finally has like an actual scare. Rather than what I do hate is the loud music bullshit, where they'll just play a loud
mhm,
music to scare you. That shit's annoying.
right, yeah, like, I've got I've gotten to the age where, like, loud sounds don't scare me, they hurt my ears.
Yeah.
It's it's like, "That wasn't scary, my ears are bleeding now, though, thanks a
Right.
lot, because I really wanted my ears to start bleeding, you fucking
Thanks for that.
jackwang."
I wanted to be dumb. Yeah.
Oh, man, fucking, there while we're on the subject of scary movies, I really wish I could remember what this movie is. I will try to describe it, and we'll see if you remember or know what it is, but I don't think many people do, because I think it's like one of those, I just happened to find it and it
All
wasn't
right.
very popular. It's I can't remember if the movie is about a satanic ritual that happens, and the girl somehow gets wrapped up into it and ends up getting possessed by the devil at the end, or killed or something.
Yeah.
Or if, or the other thing that's playing in my head is maybe somebody died and she tries to perform a satanic ritual and it doesn't work or some shit, or she doesn't think it works, or a satanic
Yeah.
ritual was performed in the movie by somebody else. But I remember there's like a goat man in it. And I think at one spot, like maybe when it introduces what it is as the monster, it's like banging on a door that's got like light shining. Like it's a darker, it's not dark, but it's a darker room that she's in. And I know it's a
Yeah.
female. I remember the main character's female. Um, but she's like in this room and it's like banging on the door or some shit, or it's coming to the door and you know it's coming. And the light is shining through the floor or on the floor underneath the door itself. And you can see that
Yeah.
it's like its feet are hooves. And so you know it's like the goat man or whatever, because it's, you know, something, it's like a satanic demon thing or whatever. And I know she ends up like, she either ends up dead or possessed at the end of it. And I remember there's a goat man. And I remember it's something, there's a satanic ritual somewhere in the movie, or there's talk about like one have been performed or some shit. But I
Yeah.
can't remember anything beyond that. But I'll have to try to see if I can figure out what it is, and then maybe I'll put it up like on the comments of the YouTube
If you do,
channel.
yeah, if you do, I'll check it out.
But
Watch it.
I think that's the last scary movie I watched that actually scared me, if I remember right. Because I'm pretty because that kind of goes back to the whole the night terror thing and everything like that, and the stuff like you were talking about
Yeah.
earlier is particular one delved so far into like religious belief stuff that it got me. It got me pretty good.
Yeah.
And then it was like a few days later, I was like, why was I scared by that? But it was pretty good. I think it's just like a lower rank, not very well put together movie, but I thought it was pretty well. I'm gonna try to find it because I kind of want to watch it again, but I do know now I'm at least interested to remember what it was freaking called.
Yeah, there's a few good movies that have got me. Blair Witch Project. There's this old one I can't fucking dude, I can't find it for the life of me. Um, it was I think it was like early 2000s. I watched it. It was basically that these it was one of those recorded camera movies,
Hmm.
and it's this group of teenagers, right, college kids, of course. They go into this big like two-story house to try to talk to the dead that's there.
Hmm.
And they go in and they do the whole Ouija board shit and try to talk to it and see talk to the old family, which was apparently just just old century family, just chilling, weren't crazy people, at least they didn't think of,
Hmm.
and try to talk to them. And eventually, like they're in, I think they're in on like near the stairs under this the chandelier, and they try to talk to it, and it doesn't work. And then overnight, they try to talk to it again, and shit starts. The house starts going crazy. They start hearing noises. It shows, I believe, it shows different aspects from two cameras,
Yeah.
but they're running around. They're freaking out. People start getting taken out and disappearing and shit. And it's got like one nice scene. I think it's where the girl, like the last one to be taken away, is the girl,
Hmm.
and she gets like they of course they find the usual shit. They find a closet with some crazy shit in it. They find a basement with torture devices in it and shit. And the girl gets, I think she's in the hallway. She gets knocked down on the ground, and the camera falls to where it's facing her, kind of lopsided, right?
Right.
And you can see her kind of trying to grab the camera, but then she gets her ankle is grabbed, pulled a few inches, and then dragged away, which was always fun. She gets dragged away, and the next day, the whole narrator says that, well, it does an audio recording, I think, um, of a guy calling the fire department. I think it was either fire department or the police department. Say that something's happening at this house. Can you come check it out?
Hmm.
They come check it out. The kids are missing. Like the college kids are missing. I believe I could be wrong. It's been so fucking long. And I believe that they were missing the cops and firefighters. Didn't find them. But what they found in the garage was a lot of torture devices, other cages people would be put in, things like that. And it turns out that rich people lived there, and that they like back in the 1800s, and they would put like their slaves and their maids inside of cages and torture them.
Hmm.
The wife would mostly do it, and it was just the person that called the number to get the cops and shit to come by was the dead husband. So no one, like, it was the dead husband that called the line and not an actual live person. And that movie always stuck with me. I wish I could go find it, but I can never find that shit. That, and then one of a more of a psychological movie is a black and white movie. I
Mm-hmm.
swore the title was As the River Runs Red, but I've looked it up and that's a different old movie. And it was the doctor trying to find, like, he was a doctor, he'd do surgeries and shit like that, amputees, and it was back when there was no, like, what is that shit called, sedation. It'd be like bite on your shirt or bite on this piece of um
Oh, okay, yeah,
wood, and let's hope you don't die from shock or go insane from the pain.
yeah,
And it was him doing a bunch of tests, making a bunch of different concoctions, like just drugs and shit like that, to try to find, what's the word for it? That's called what you get when you have a surgery.
Anesthesia.
Yeah, he was trying to find anesthesia, and he finally found it, but it shows his whole trip of making it, trying to figure out how it works, him getting high or him getting tears and shit like that,
Mm-hmm.
until he finally finds it. Because what pushes him to it is, he would be like a great surgeon, but back then cases would be like, I don't know the actual percentage, but a good quarter of them or something would die from shock
Yeah.
from amputee, and he was getting tired of it and he wanted to find a cure for it. I can't remember that movie either. I swear it was As the River Runs Red, but that's a different one. That was a great black and white one, more of a psychological one.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah, I've never heard of either of those. Or I've never watched either of those. I do
The first
know
one kind of stuck with me because it was scary. Yeah.
I do know
All
that
right, go ahead.
there's I do know that there is a I watched a YouTube video on it a long time ago.
Yeah.
There's apparently a this movie, like the most cursed movie or something.
Hmm.
And I do know it's a black and white film. Um,
There's some crazy ones back
but
then.
like it's straight up people believe that it causes you to like get cursed by an actual demon or some shit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that. I'll probably spend some time to look all this
I
stuff up in a little bit.
yeah. See if you could at least find the one I'm talking about. I can't fucking find either one of them. The black and white one would probably be easier to find because I know more information on it.
hmm I'm definitely gonna look it up in a little bit because now I'm curious to know what it is, and I'm curious to know if that it's got me curious to try to remember what the most cursed movie is too, because I know that one's a black and white movie, and I want to. I'm starting to wonder if it's not the same one you're talking about. That may be a different thing. I'm not sure though. I'll have to figure it out,
Yeah.
but I'm interested now. It reminds me of a all this stuff, this like scary movie, suspense stuff, and all that reminds me of a uh gosh damn it, a podcast. I literally forgot what the word podcast was, and it's not like you're not doing one right now, you dumbass.
Right.
Um, podcast reminds
What are
me
we doing?
reminds me that of a podcast that's it's called Lore, and it's about like random stories from past like history, like recorded
Yeah.
history that's believed to be real, you know, like the Salem witch trials, and which I'm not saying that's not real, I just meant like that's one of them. I know the Salem witch trials. I know that
Yeah.
there's one about the like Gettysburg, one of the battlefields of like the battlefield of Gettysburg is
Yeah.
apparently like there's a haunted building or whatever. um Pretty cool story to it. There's some good ones on some like werewolf stuff, and then one of the ones I remember like being a really good episode that I was really interested in. I don't remember what episode number it is, but it's the one about the Black Plague, how the Black Plague actually started, and
Yeah.
it's like the true story of how it started, like the very, very, very beginning of it. And it's fucking crazy of how, like, what happened to start it off, and then it became this thing that because people thought they were going to do something, they were going to use some type of war tactic against other people, ended up causing like mass chaos across the whole world. Or at least across
Holy
or at
shit.
least across Europe, because it was all in Europe or whatever. Um I'll have to look that up at one point, and we'll definitely have to go over it, but like a quick overview of it was the these two European fighting parties were trying to they were at a war, and one of the parties, their kingdom or whatever, was on this, like, I don't know what the correct terminology for landscape is, but it was on this landscape that is in this, like, on the sea, and it was
Yeah.
the whole kingdom was on this one thing or whatever, and they couldn't get to it except by boat, and you had to like climb up and get to it, or you had to like go across a bridge or something. I can't remember, but you had to get to it. And to fight them, they were trying to protect their town, their kingdom or the town or whatever it's called. Um,
Yeah.
and it's like walled up. They had they were attacking them at the sea, the ships at the sea. Well, the ships at the sea were taking their bodies of their dead and launching them into the kingdom.
Oh damn.
And it ended up like, because their people were dying from rats that were infected or whatever, and they were also dying from other things. And then that's how the plague started. Is it got transferred from a boat to a kingdom, and then that got
Oh, I
transferred
gotcha.
from there across the country, and it fucking it killed what it was like 80. I mean, it's not funny that it killed, but
Hmm.
it's just funny that the situation of
It's
like
ridiculous. That,
it's such a crazy story of how it happened. It's just mind-boggling that it, at least
yeah.
to me, that it was like that, and it's just crazy that it started with one people being stupid in one little boat, and then
Yeah.
it's just like 80% of the population or whatever it was just toast a decade later. But everybody who's made it this far, thanks for listening, and we both hope that you guys have a wonderful night, day, afternoon, whenever you happen to be catching this.
Yeah.
And
Whatever the fuck you doing.
right, whatever the fuck you're doing, we hope it's going well, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Peace. See ya.